In Milwaukee, something very interesting is happening. A quote-unquote free-range socialist, Angela Walker, is running for sheriff. By free-range socialist, she uses that to describe herself in that she does not align to any particular party, like I do, except she doesn't get attacked for it. Now, she's running for the office of sheriff due to, frankly, all of the social ills that Milwaukee and, many entire United States is facing. Now, she's not an uneducated person. She went to University of Florida. She took history, so she is educated. She comes from a working class background. She's African American herself. Now, it's very interesting that she would choose to run for sheriff. Now, when she was asked why she was doing it, this was her response in the interview for an interview that she gave. I am running for sheriff because Milwaukee County is dealing with segregation and violence in the inner city, and these issues have deep roots that have only been glanced at in passing. I think that the only way we will finally move Milwaukee in the direction it needs to go is to be truthful about the role that capitalism and white privilege have played in making the inner city a permanent underclass. Mass incarceration is a huge problem in Milwaukee. I'm sure that you know that Wisconsin leads the country in incarcerating Black and Latino folks. These folks come from Milwaukee County. Many of the prisons they end up in are out-of-state for-profit institutions. Those institutions are not profitable unless they are full, so we've seen crimes that up until recently were misdemeanors become felonies. I support the legalization and decriminalization of marijuana with the same restrictions as alcohol because nonviolent offenders make up a disproportionate percentage of this prison population. If legalization and decriminalization happen, these folks will have to be released. The prison system here in Wisconsin is capitalism at its finest, profiting off of the misery and marginalization of people who deserve much better. I think my campaign will give me the platform to address this. These are very devastating and very real effects of capitalism. But my question is, how exactly is she going to challenge that as sheriff? That's not what a sheriff does. It seems more like from her interview that she's campaigning for political office rather than for the sheriff's office. Now, she does go on to, when she was asked what exactly she would do different as sheriff than previous sheriffs have done. The way I look at the office of sheriff is that there is a need for greater cooperation between that office and the county board. The police department, those relationships are extremely damaged under Clark, the previous sheriff. I would want to repair that damage and work cooperatively with these agencies. Now, the rest of her answer to this question, she gave things that she supports, not things that she would do. She goes on about the minimum wage, inequality in society, which are all very real problems. But these are none of the things that a sheriff does. These are none of the problems that sheriffs deal with. This move to run for sheriff doesn't make any sense. A sheriff doesn't get to choose which laws to enforce, and they don't particularly control what laws come into existence. The sheriff is an apparatus of the state to carry out the wills and intentions of the state. Her job would be literally the armed body of men that the bourgeois state comprises. She's against the capitalist state, but she's now going to be an enforcer for that state, thinking that she can do things differently. She cannot in any way, shape, or form inherently change the nature of the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office is a part of the capitalist bourgeois structure. Essentially, her job will be to enforce capitalism, which is what the sheriff does. If she doesn't do that, if she doesn't enforce capitalism, she's going to be removed from her job. She does outline one of the things that she's very concerned about is racial inequality, which is very real, and this is structural from capitalism itself. But she's not doing anything to challenge capitalism, nor can the sheriff's office do that. You don't get rid of it by being nicer or having cops that are, quote, not racist. You get rid of that by getting rid of capitalism itself. You cannot build equality in a system that is predicated on inequality. And certainly the sheriff would have no ability to do that. As I have said, the function of the sheriff is to defend capitalism. Once again, we come back to the reality of first worldist struggles. They're struggling for a slight change, a concession here, a bargain there. We're not going to overthrow capitalism and get rid of the structure itself that causes the problems that we're against. We're going to run for office or run for the position of authority, enforcer of that very system. That's not going to challenge the very nature of the sheriff's office, the job of being enforcer itself. She can't actually do any of the things that she wants to do in that job. This makes absolutely no sense. You can't be against what it is the police do by becoming one of the police. The police are structurally designed to carry out a specific task. Being a police officer doesn't change that structure. I really don't understand what it is that she's doing here. But this is a very first world thing to do. You know, we're not going to really challenge the structure. We're not even going to present a threat to it. We're just going to ask for a concession because we've still got things a hell of a lot better in the third world, and we don't really have to actually struggle against the system that we're supposed to be against. Again, this is just one of those first world concessions to power rather than actually challenging that power. Thank you for watching. Please comment and rate the video. If you liked it, hit subscribe or check out some of these other great videos. If you wish, share it on social media. While you're at it, why don't you follow me on Twitter? And if you got time, go on over to the MRN bookstore and check out some of the latest books available.